Hi guys, it's Anya from Interior Design Hub, back again today with another video. Today, it's a special request video. It's actually going to be about the Ncidq exam and how to pass. Alright guys, so today's video is a follow-up video to my other video on the Ncidq exam and whether it's worth it to write it or not. I will link that exam up here, there, somewhere, and put it there for you guys to watch just in case you're curious a little bit about my own process of going through the exam. However, today I'm actually going to get into how to pass the exam and what I did to pass it. I pulled everything up on the screen. I have a lot of material I want to go over with you guys, and instead of just totally talking about it, I kind of want to show you some of the steps. We are going to cover right into the thick of it, study materials, my schedule for how I studied, as well as, you know, the tips and the tools that I suggest, not that you have to follow it, to try and pass the exam on your first round. Let's get into it. So on cidq.org, they actually have all the information for your education streams. So it shows you if you're going through school for interior design or architecture and how you actually qualify to go to the exam. I've talked about this quickly on my last video, but I just wanted to share with you that it does tell you that your direct supervisor or sponsor needs to be Ncidq certified in the US or Canada, or a registered architect in the US or Canada. So you need to have somebody who is an architect. So a registered architect is actually somebody who's already written their architecture exams, and that takes quite a bit. I actually wrote a blog on that. I'll link it below, just if you want to kind of understand the difference of becoming an architect versus becoming an interior designer. You need an architect or a registered interior designer, so meaning they've sat and passed their Ncidq exam and are in good standing. So once you get your Ncidq exam, you still have to do annual training. So you need to be in good standing with the CIDQ. It's all there for you. I'll actually put the link for this below just so that you actually can look at it yourself. And I think that's really important, is knowing where to access that information. So that's where I wanted to start on this. All right, so now you know your path, you know how you have to apply for the exams. Once you get approved to actually sit for the exams, now we get into the big stuff. So some people say 6 months, some people say 3 months, some people just say, I just wrote it, whatever. I don't believe them, by the way, but whatever. All right, guys, so there are 3 exams in the Ncidq exams. So you have your IDFX, your IDPX, and your QPRACTICE 2.0. The IDFX exam, when I wrote the exams, you couldn't take it until you had all your hours done. They have now since changed that, and you can actually write this exam in your final year of design school or shortly thereafter. I highly recommend taking the IDFX as soon as you graduate. I think some people have a difference of opinion on this, but I personally found that it really covered a lot on the design process. I felt years later that a lot of that stuff was stuff that I would have been better at as soon as I was done school. There's 2 ways to approach this exam. You can write all 3 in one shot after you've gotten all your hours. The other way is to do the IDFX first, and then once you have all your hours, you can then apply and write the other 2 exams. However, once you write that exam, and a lot of people, I don't know if they know this or if they look into this, but you only have 5 years from the point that you write any one of those exams at any point to complete all 3 exams. Otherwise, you have to start all over. So I think that's a part that kind of holds some people back. So if you don't think, especially with maybe the way the economy is going, that you're going to be able to maybe tackle all 3 within 5 years, just due to hours and how much you're working, I would say then hold off. You have to write all 3 in 5 years, okay? All right, so what materials do you need to study for your Ncidq? The very first one, I'm gonna put a link for this. There's a caveat to this. So I found this book really hard to find when I was actually going through and actually trying to get the materials. So this is what I did. So I got this book. So it's David Ballast's Interior Design Reference Manual. I think it has become the standard. Now, this book new was ridiculously expensive, and I do believe that they sell it on the website, or they have a link to it on the website. I'm in Canada, and it was just, wow, it was so expensive. I was just sitting there going, I'm already spending so much money on these exams. I can't believe how much this book is. So I went on Amazon and I found one used, and mine came in like, I mean, it doesn't look like it anymore, but it came in mint condition. So it was like $80 or $90. So for me, I found that that was the best way. If I can find it on Amazon, I'll just link it below to where you can source it. But basically, you need this. This is a lot of work right here. There's like, it's thick, okay? Don't be overwhelmed. You can do it. You just have to, it's like Sean Cannell says, how do you eat an elephant? You take one bite at a time, all right? So that's how you have to approach the NCIDQ, one bite at a time. So in the beginning of this book is a little bit of a schedule. See here, it's actually got a schedule for you. What I did when I came up with my schedule is I did use this as my guide. Because I had a 3-month window, I had decided that I was gonna read this cover to cover. Yeah, I know. I did go through it, and I'm gonna show you some, like, I got a little highlighter happy. Oh, I'm not gonna lie. But as I figured out studying and writing out all my notes, highlighted what I felt I needed. And this is just the way I study. But that being said, the other tip that I have for you, and there is proven facts on this, write it down, okay? So I don't have my big notebook. This was my quiz follow through. The best way to learn is not just reading. So what I do when I study, and this is a really good tip for you guys, because this is such a big challenge, this exam to take on, is read the book first cover to cover. I know, it sounds crazy, but that's what I did the first month. The second month, I went through and basically read it again, which sounds crazy, but that's when I took the highlighted points and I actually took that information and I condensed it and I wrote it all out. So that sounds like a lot of work, but your brain retains so much more when you physically handwritten it out, not typing on the computer, physically writing it out. I know that sounds so tedious, and it sounds like I'm never going to get through this if I have to do it. You just do one chapter at a time. It was those cheap school notebooks, like the little ringed ones. And I did condense this book into, I think, one of those. So, I mean, the information, it seems overwhelming, but what I felt I really needed to focus on was able to condense it to only one of those ring books. It is what it is. It's a lot of information. So that's like probably my number one tip is handwriting. And everybody studies differently, and if you're thinking, I don't need to do that, that's not how I study, that's not how I pass things, then do it the way that you do it. But that is going to help you retain a lot of this information. Of course, you've learned a lot of this stuff at work. Absolutely. It is applicable to what you do in the business, but I still found there was a lot of areas, and even for myself, where I worked in residential, I worked in commercial, I had done a lot of experience covering a lot of these areas. I had worked with full drawings, I had worked with millwork, I had done the details, I had done the sections, I had even done specifications. So I had a really good understanding of what the business as a whole is. I wasn't pigeonholed into only one area and then found this really overwhelming. Whether you're working in one area of design and you find that you have a lot of gaps, or you've covered a lot, I still find the exam is not 100% relatable to real working conditions. And I think a big part of that is there's just a lot of areas we don't cover. Like, we don't get into some of this stuff in most firms. So it's going to be a lot to learn. The next thing you guys need to do is, on the website, they have the building code. Now, this is not the building code. The building code is this huge giant book. They have their own. It's 13 pages long. You're going to hate me when I say this, but memorize this. I know it's a pain in the butt, but this document, it's a condensed version of the building code just for this purpose of this exam. Like, it's not an actual building code, it's just for the exam. What I found with this is the first time, because you guys know if you watch my other video, I did not pass the first time. You get this with your PRAC exam. You do not get this with your IDFX and IDPX. I do strongly recommend that you memorize this. In your practicum exam, you can access the building code. However, I personally did not find I had a lot of time during that exam. It's a one-screen exam, so you don't have the dual monitors, and trust me, dual monitors would make like it a dream, but it's a one screen, and I found there was a very noticeable lag from when I would try to open up something else. So knowing this back to front and sideways, like this is just as much a part of my notes. This is a clean one because my other one had gotten so messy, but definitely having a really good, like, know this going into the exam, it will help you so much. And also if you're in Canada, some of these you'll notice, like if you're working in the business and you're going to write the exam, it's not like to our building code. Like our building code is, I think, a lot stricter. So I think this is more US-ish, just based on like from going through it. So, but this is a little while ago. I don't know if they've updated it since, but so print that out. It's all on the website. Another thing I did, and like here, I'm just trying to help you out, guys, as much as I can, because I want to tell you every little thing I did to pass. Because like I told you, I did not pass this the first time. Well, I passed. Okay, let me clarify. I didn't pass the PRAC 2.0. I passed the IDPX and the IDFX on my first try. So just so you know, I did actually pass the IDFX and the IDPX on my first try. I made this myself, guys. So like this is, I went onto Google and I found, 3 ways to frame window and door openings. So basically I made up these little drawings and then I wiped, this is so old school. So see your framing system, door system, another, just more. Okay, I know this looks crazy, right? Window and door wall system. I'm a visual person, which I feel like a lot of people are visual people. 1 hour fire rated, 2 hour fire rated. Fire barrier components. Okay, so I will, like I said, I'm gonna take some shots of this. So basically I printed them off, I whited out all like the labels, and then I basically created myself a little practice label thing. Now my thought process when I came up with this little hand sketch, because one thing with QPRAC is you can do it on your phone. So sometimes I'd lie in bed and just do like the building code quizzes over and over and over again, because I was like, I'm studying, but I'm in bed, right? I'm having a day. So I liked that a lot, that you could use it on all devices, which was really good. But I still am very much like that handwritten brain connectivity. I know that that's really important. So by doing this, I could just throw it in my bag. Like I said, I brought this stuff everywhere with me, and I could just do like a little written quiz, and that would just help solidify some of it. And yeah, do I know most of this stuff just from my like everyday work? Absolutely, but you forget, and I just want it to be very habitual, like where I didn't have to think about it. One thing I found when writing the exam was like when that timer's going, there's an automatic level of stress. So sometimes things, for me anyways, just I felt like it was harder to recall them. So I wanted to try and get it as ingrained as I could. And I'm gonna get into the exam day experience just to give you guys like a really good feeling of what to expect. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful. So this comes today as a special request from Lana. She actually reached out to me and asked me if I could do a video that's in greater detail about the NCIDQ exam. So thank you so much for asking, and here we are. All right, guys, that's everything for this video. If you have any comments or questions, please let me know below. If you have a video suggestion, definitely reach out and let me know what you'd like me to cover. And if you guys are liking this content, please like and subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Until next time, bye. So, back to my other point. Blah, 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 blah. Show the other video. Come back to this video because I totally pieced it. Okay. Hopefully when I edit this, I can put this in the right spot. Step it up, QPRAC. No, step it up. See, step it up.